Today. Let's send it over to Kimberly O'Neill with the latest news.
Thanks, Jamie. Top cartel capo was captured recently by Mexican police. Servando La Tuta Gomez was a former school teacher who became one of the most wanted drug lords ahead of the King's Templar cartel. Gomez was arrested in his home along with 8 bodyguards and associates, toting a grenade launcher, 3 grenades, and a machine pistol and assault rifles in Morelia, Michoacan early Friday. The cartel orchestrated politics, controlled commerce, dictated rules, and preached the code of ethics around devoted to God and family, even as they murdered. The gang lost power when the federal government took over to the state to try to restore order in January of 2014. After vigilant groups rose up against the cartel, but Gomez invaded capture for more than a year, while other Knights Templar leaders were captured or killed. Mexico's government had offered a $2 million reward for his capture and had also was wanted in the United States for conspiracy to import and distribute cocaine. Thousands gathered together Sunday in Moscow, Russia to mourn Putin's opposition politician Boris Nemtsov, carrying flowers, portraits, and signs that said, "I am not afraid." The mourners marched to the bridge near the Kremlin, where Nemtsov was gunned down shortly before midnight Friday. The mood was somber with a heavy police presence. Back to you, Shauna and Jamie.
And March is Women's History Month. It's time to reflect on the accomplishments of women. But it's also time to remember the struggles that continue. Our reporter, Kimberly O'Neill, tackles the story from the 2 different fronts. First, she talks with a local entrepreneur who juggles success with being a new mom.
I started back, I saw a friend of mine showed me a gel that is used in mattresses, and I was really curious. It was really sticky, and I loved the way it felt. And I have problems with my feet. And I know that women inject silicone into the balls of their feet to create more padding. And I thought, gosh, this would feel great on my feet. So I just kind of researched it and started experimenting with different shapes. And then I applied it to my foot, and it felt wonderful. And then I thought, well, maybe this is something other women might enjoy. Officially, it started in 2011. Before then, I was working on, doing the molds and patterns, and so that took about 3 years. I did a lot of focus groups with women to see what worked, what didn't work. Very instrumental, because I asked him if he could get an appointment to see the doctors for the Marines, and it took him about 6 months. He made a few calls, because my husband was in the military. He was a Navy pilot. And because he kind of could speak the lingo and do that, he was able to maneuver and get an appointment. So we met with about 10 doctors, and they loved the product. And so now it's with the Marines nationwide. What motivates me now a lot is that I have a daughter, and I want to be a good role model for her and show her that we can, as women, do whatever we want to do. We can start a business, and we can go for it. So she's a big motivator for me. Before her, of course, I wanted to excel myself, but having her and just seeing the
One struggle that women continue to focus attention on is pay inequality in the workplace. Kimberly continues her in-depth story with a guest in the studio. Kimberly?
Thanks, Taylor. I'm here with Elizabeth Munoz from Cal State Fullerton's Career Center to discuss about women's inequality. Thank you for being here with us, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me.
Before we begin, let's look at Patricia Arquette's speech at the 87th Academy Awards.
To every woman who gave birth, to every taxpayer and citizen of this nation, we have fought for everybody else's equal rights. It's our time to have wage equality once and for all, and equal rights for women in the United States of America.
So after seeing the video, what is your initial reaction to this?
Well, Inequality is definitely an area of much concern, in today's, job market. Primarily, as I'm working with students, it's definitely bringing more awareness not only to students about this, primarily female students, but also employers. And I think that's, as an advocate, to encourage both ends to better understand, what is equal pay and how to better provide those salaries to employees just all across the board. So it is definitely something of great concern and great awareness as we look at providing service to our students all across the board.
So why do you think that is, that we're still in 2015 and females aren't being equally paid in the workforce?
I believe that part of it is, again, the awareness on the employer's end. They know that there's wage and employment laws set in place, and oftentimes it's, as they look at ways to providing the salaries and, making a profit, especially for profits. I think it definitely varies across the board in various industries and various type of positions. And so I think, as I mentioned, part of it is the unawareness of what needs to be done. And, in case for employees to better be aware, especially female employees, of ways that they could initiate those conversations with their supervisors, their managers, to negotiate maybe equal pay throughout.
So you're a Latina. So Vox had stated statistically that Latinas in the workforce only get paid 54 cents for every dollar a man makes. So what is your opinion regarding that?
Definitely, it's unfortunate that those salaries are definitely vary depending on Latina women, African American women, in comparison Asian American women. It is definitely very discerning to know that we are paid that low in comparison to others. Overall, that awareness I think is definitely something that needs to be brought upon the light and various components of us going out there, educating other Latinas, mentoring, I think, too, and me mentoring, Latina female students that are getting ready to go out there into the workforce, informing them of this and better providing them a basic foundation, on how to best address those issues, as they go out into the marketplace, into the job workforce.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and discussing this issue. Back to Krista in the studio.